Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Executioner, comics. The Executioner is the name of different fictional characters appearing in American comic books. Published by Marvel Comics, Skurge, an Asgardian, was originally depicted as a supervillain that wielded a magic double-bladed battle axe. Scourge fell in love with the Enchantress and was frequently used in schemes by her and the trickster god Loki. He was a long-time antagonist of Thor and other heroes of the Marvel Universe and was a member of the original Masters of Evil. Eventually, he joined the heroes of Asgard in a mission to Hell where he sacrificed his axe to destroy Naglfar, the ship of the dead, and delay Ragnarok, and sacrificed his life to hold the bridge at Gjallarbrú so the heroes could escape the forces of Hell. After a time trapped in Hell, he joined the honored dead in Valhalla. The name was later used by two other characters, an axe-wielding android member of the Crazy Gang, and a vigilante named Daniel DuBois, the son of Princess Python. Karl Urban will portray Skurge in Thor: Ragnarok. Publication history. The Executioner first appeared in Journey into Mystery 03 and was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Scourge was born in Jotunheim and later became a warrior, gaining the name Executioner after fighting in a war against the Storm Giants. Scourge has always had feelings for Amora the Enchantress, and regularly aids her in various evil schemes to gain control of Asgard. However, the Enchantress only manipulates him using her charms to keep Scourge under her thrall. Loki, the trickster god, also has used Scourge many times. In his first appearance, the Executioner teams with the Enchantress to battle Thor at the behest of Loki. He exiles Jane Foster to another dimension and tries to get Thor to surrender his hammer to him in exchange for Jane. Thor agrees to this, but when the Enchantress turns Scourge to a tree for bringing Foster back, he releases Thor from the bargain, whereupon Thor returns the two to Asgard. The Executioner and the Enchantress are exiled to Earth by Odin, where they learn of Zemo from a newspaper. They become members of Baron Zemo's original Masters of Evil and fight the Avengers. The Executioner disguises himself as a former aide of Zemo and lures Captain America to Zemo's kingdom, while the Enchantress uses her powers to turn Thor against the Avengers. Later, the Executioner helps Zemo escape from Captain America by knocking out Cap. Scourge remained with Baron Zemo's Masters of Evil for some time. The Masters of Evil created Wonder Man, who was meant to trick and destroy the Avengers. When the Executioner was defeated by Wonder Man testing his power, he worried about controlling him. Though Zemo revealed Wonder Man would die within a week unless given an antidote. The gloating Scourge was derided by Wonder Man, who did not like the need for trickery and deceit. The group's plan to kill the Avengers was thwarted by Wonder Man, and Scourge and his allies were defeated. The Executioner menaced Jane Foster and fought Balder as any ally of Loki. He was later among the legion of villains assembled by Doctor Doom to destroy the Fantastic Four using a mind control machine, but due to Mr. Fantastic, the villains all had their memory of this event erased. Apart from the Enchantress, Scourge attempted to establish an empire by the conquest of an alternate future 25th century Earth. He battled the Hulk after he was accidentally transported there. He was reunited with the Enchantress and joined the Mandarin's attempted world conquest with 4 other villains after being taken to his base by teleportation technology. He attacked the Asian subcontinent with an army of trolls due to the valuable diamonds that were there, and fought Hercules in another dimension he had transported them to with his axe, but was beaten and thrown at a giant the Enchantress had created to defeat the Scarlet Witch, destroying it. He next led a troll invasion of Asgard. Odin banished him to the realm of Cassiolena. Skurge abandoned the Enchantress to become Cassiolina's co-ruler. He led Cassiolina's forces against the Defenders and resumed his alliance with the Enchantress. Skurge attacked Doctor Strange alongside Enchantress, but they were defeated. He later battled the Defenders and the Thing as the Enchantress' ally. Skurge led an assault on Asgard and fought Balder again. With the Enchantress, he serves as Loki's lieutenant during his brief rule of Asgard. With the Enchantress he joined with the forces of Asgard against the legions of the most powerful fire demon Surtur. Once more the Enchantress set her sights on Heimdall as a potential lover. Skurge sought to ease the wounds of his heart in battle, joining Thor, Balder, and the Einherjar on a rescue mission into Hell. A group of souls belonging to living humans had been trapped there by Malekith the Accursed, and Hela had refused to permit them to return to Midgard. Despite initial misgivings, Thor permitted Skurge to accompany the group. Skurge is tempted by the appearance of Amora, who claims Heimdall had slain her. This was not Amora but Mordonna, a shape-shifting sorceress in the employ of Hela. The disguise is revealed when Skurge decides to trust Balder more than the desires of his own heart. Hela whisks Mordonna away before Skurge can gain revenge. Naglfar, the ship of the dead, is nearing ready to sail, and Hela promises Skurge a place of honor beside her on it. At the Battle of Ragnarok, enraged at being manipulated, Skurge destroys the ship with his axe, forestalling the end of days. The group is pursued out of Hell, and at the bridge Gjallarbrú, Thor swears to hold the bridge as long as he can so that the souls of the mortals can reach freedom. Seeking redemption for a wasted life, Skurge knocks Thor unconscious and tells Balder he will take the Thunder God's place. Skurge's last request is to ask Balder to promise that Thor and he would drink to the memory of Skurge. Balder consents, and he, the Einherjar and the mortal souls depart Hell with the unconscious Thor. Skurge defends Gjallarbrú with the M16 rifles the Einherjar had brought from Earth for the expedition, and does not let a single demon pass. An impressed Hela pays him tribute, saying he stood alone at Gjallarbrú, and that answer is enough. He was eventually overrun and killed by Hela's forces. Following his death he remains in Hell until Thor, currently cursed by Hela so that his bones would become brittle and never heal, while simultaneously being immortal, assumes control of the Destroyer and attacks Hela's domain. Skurge attempts to use diplomacy to reach Thor's spirit inside the armor, but is knocked out by Thor. Unknown to all this is all part of Thor's plan to force her to remove the curse, which does before the Thunder God can destroy Hell. Afterwards, Skurge tells Thor he guessed that Thor was truly in control when the Destroyer spared his life rather than killing him. Thor asks Skurge if there is anything he could do, and Skurge reminds Thor of his promise: have a drink in his name as they had promised. Recognizing that Skurge's honor and courage belonged somewhere better, Hela allows him to depart her realm and releases him to Valhalla. Thor and Balder are said to have many drinks to Skurge's name. While there, his spirit was summoned from Valhalla by the Grandmaster as a member of his Legion of the Unliving, and he battled Thor. His spirit was freed from Hela's prison when he led the other escaped Einherjar to join an assault on Hela's forces by the Asgardians and New Mutants. He earned for himself a place in Valhalla, Asgard's place for honored dead. After his death, the Enchantress realized that she truly possessed feelings for Scourge and mourned his demise. The time-traveling villain Zarko the Tomorrow Man once pulled him and 8 other villains out of the time stream to battle the Thor Corps, but he was defeated. Once, Amora gave the executioner's axe to a mortal man called Brute Benhurst. Thor, believing him Scourge, tried not to fight him until the executioner hit Kevin Masterson. Thor recognized hitting a boy as an ignoble thing which Scourge would never do. and defeated the new executioner. Odin later recruits Skurge to aid Erik Masterson in fighting off the influence of the Blood Axe, the former weapon that Scourge wielded. Enchantress attempts to attack Yggdrasil in order to free Executioner from Valhalla, although doing so threatens all reality. She is stopped by Thor, Loki and Balder, who convince her that her actions are dishonoring Scourge's memory. Crazy Gang. The Executioner is a silent android swathed in a long robe and hood and armed with an axe. It follows the commands of the Red Queen and seems to lack any real intelligence. It was destroyed under unknown circumstances, but it had been destroyed and repaired before. Young Masters. A character named the Executioner appears in Dark Reign, Young Avengers. He is described as a rich and organized urban vigilante who hunts and kills criminal scum, and likes to hurt pets. It is later revealed that this executioner is the son of Princess Python and knows Kate Bishop from school and is aware of her secret identity, knowledge that he uses to try and blackmail his way onto the team. Executioner isn't aware of his mother's identity as Princess Python, at least until it's actually pointed out to him. However, it may be that he was simply in denial about this matter, as Norman Osborn comments that if his mother was Princess Python then he'd like to think he'd know. And Kate Bishop immediately realizes who she is upon meeting her. Powers and abilities. Scourge possessed the superhuman abilities of a typical male Asgardian, due to his unique hybrid physiology with a half-storm giant and half-Skornheimian pedigree. Scourge's physical strength, stamina and durability were considerably greater than those of the average Asgardian male. He also possessed superhuman visual acuity. Scourge was extremely long-lived, aging at a much slower pace than human beings. Though not truly immortal, his body was highly resistant to physical damage and he was immune to terrestrial diseases, toxins and some magic. In the event of injury, Scourge's godly life force would allow him to recover with a superhuman rate. Scourge had proficiency at hand-to-hand combat and mastery of most Asgardian weapons. He would often fight wielding his large enchanted double-bladed battle axe that allowed him a number of abilities, including cutting rifts into other dimensions and control over fire and ice that he could project at his enemies. Scourge also sometimes wore an enchanted impregnable horned helmet that completely covered his head. In his first appearance, Scourge demonstrated a superhuman falcon hunting vision that enabled him to find Jane Foster in a crowd. The second executioner is a vigilante with no superpowers. Earth 238. Captain Britain was sent to an alternate Earth known as Earth 238 by Merlin. Together with Saturnine, he hoped to save this world from the corruption that threatened it. Instead, they encountered Earth 238's Mad Jim Jaspers, a lunatic with the ability to warp reality. Serving Jaspers were the Crazy Gang, which included Executioner. This group of superhumans were based on characters from Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. Captain Britain and Saturnine individually managed to escape this Earth, and Jaspers and the Crazy Gang, including Executioner, were killed when Earth 238 was destroyed by Saturnine's successor Mandragon. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Would you like to know more?